You were asking about the 4x4. You said your father.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I remember. I mean, that's been a while. That was 1986, and we can tell Cody a little bit about it. The meet. The NCAA national championship was coming down to the mile relay. We had to win the meet. We're second in the meet, so there was no choice. Now you say, okay, well, you got a good mile relay team, no problem. Well, the problem was we ran the trials. We had the fifth best time. So in other words, 4 teams run faster than us. And 2 of those teams, it was Baylor and UCLA. Now UCLA had the guy who would go on to get the gold medal in the 400 to the next Olympics. They had another guy who got the bronze medal at the Olympics. They had a guy by the name of Kevin Young, who was the world record holder in the mid-hurdles, 47 low, 47 low, maybe even 46 high. And then they also had the top freshman in the country. He ran 45.22 coming out of high school. So they're loaded. You got a gold medal winner, a bronze, the world record holder in the 400, Kevin Young, the top freshman in the country. So that's one team. Baylor was the defending national champion. They lost their weak leg, and they replaced him with a guy named Michael Johnson. So you know who Michael Johnson is, right?
Yep.
Okay, he wasn't too bad. As I told you earlier, we always got splits, so we knew. And I'm scared to death. I'm nervous, because it comes down. We got to win this thing. But my team was pretty relaxed, and I had to, and as a coach, I had to act like, hey, just take care of business. Well, I think sometimes it's important what you say to kids, and it's also important what you don't say to kids. Certain things I didn't want to say. I didn't want to say like, let's concentrate, and that's not false start. Because if I say don't false start, what picture do you visualize?
False start.
A false start. Okay? So you don't want that. So instead of saying don't false start, I said, hey, just, the start is going to hold you. When you get up there, it's going to be a long time. He's going to hold that gun. So I knew we wouldn't false start. We might be late, but that's much better than false starting. I also don't say don't drop the stick. Instead, hey, we always have good exchanges. Let's just continue like we always do. Let's get that great exchange. We'll gain a couple tenths of a second on each one because our exchanges will be better. And then sure enough, the race goes off. The other thing we did, which I thought was important, so I'm trying to match them up. Okay, well, this team here, and I figured those are the top 2 teams to beat. Turned out to be right. Those were the 2 teams to beat. They each had a weakness, and we wanted to capitalize on it. And one in particular, Baylor, they had a guy, our kids are basically from Dallas. They all ran against each other. Baylor's kids all were from the same area. Everyone knew each other. We were in the same conference. We ran against each other. UCLA, not so much. We didn't see them that often, but we knew they had one kid that was owned by one of our other kids. We had a kid by the name of Roy Martin, who was a freshman, and Roy was good. In high school, Roy ran 20.13, I think, and 10.16. So we matched him up against this other kid from Baylor, knowing that this kid's going to be scared to death running against Roy Martin because Roy owned him in high school. But if you ever looked it up on YouTube, you would see it. But it's what you say and what you don't say, they can make a big difference. Our kids, we matched up, and I was trying to decide who's going to anchor. And one of my athletes, Kevin Robinson, who was pretty darn good, he came to me and says, Coach, I want to anchor. And I said, okay, why? Because if I'm within a couple yards, I'll win it. And I'm thinking, okay. Well, he did. Now, we never lost to Michael Johnson up to that point. We were 7-0 against Michael. We run against him. I'm thinking, okay, that's a possibility. Kevin only ran second leg for me. He said, well, in the fall, when you're talking about we got to visualize, and just by coincidence, that fall, I said, it's come down to the mile relay, and we're going to have to win the mile relay, and that was just pure luck. And I said, but I want you to see. And he said, and I've seen it so many times. And I said, and you were the anchor leg, I take it? He said, yeah. In front of the team, he says, you keep within 2 meters, we'll win it. And then my guys, you talk about a little bit of attitude. 2 meters, we're going to push your hand. That's all that happened. And sure enough, it played out just the way they envisioned it. So we did anchor him. We switched some people around. We put Roy against the person that I thought, Baylor's probably going to be in the lead this time. And we're going to make him, we're going to scare the kid, knowing that Roy's coming. It worked out pretty well. And we end up winning. Now it's raining, and this is biased. And if you talk to Pat Henry or USC, I think they ran a real fast time. They ran under 3 minutes. We never broke 3 minutes. We ran 3 minutes several times, but we never broke 3. And one of the reasons because we never had to. This was a time I thought we could break 3, except the temperature was in the 40s and it was raining. So the times they weren't slow. We ran 3:01 and some change. I think it was the best 4x4 team there's ever been. My point that I'm trying to make is sometimes coaches would say, just don't drop the stick or don't false start. If you don't false start, we'll be okay. You plan a picture. And I'm always into the picture. Doing well. I want you to see yourself doing well. You know, what's one of those things, body can't go where the mind hasn't been. Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. I have a list of things that I've given to your coach and several others of his coaching ideas. Hold on a second, let me go get it. I will make copies of this for you guys. I keep a log of everything, and I just started jotting stuff down. We got several pages. But just like right there, as an example, you know, number one, don't give orders that can be understood, only give orders that cannot be misunderstood. What I mean by that is, if you ever had somebody say, oh, I thought you meant, we leave no doubt. We know exactly. I've seen, oh, I thought we were running after this in a missing a race, as an example. No, we know exactly what's going on. So all the coaches, all the team, there's no way it could be misunderstood. But just going through here, pay attention to details. If it ain't broke, fix it. A lot of people say if it ain't broke, leave it alone. No. Go through those sometimes. You may have some questions. Call me, look at them, and I'll send them to you guys.
I'm pretty sure you picked up pet peeves along the way. So what are your biggest pet peeves?
We don't have that much time to go over my pet peeves. But one of my biggest ones, I went to a track meet here recently. You know, people are out in the sun. They don't have their baton. And then I watched the 800-meter runners, or you know, the milers or the distance runners. And right before the race, a minute before the race, you know, they go and do a long strider, and they run down, and then they jog back, and then they get ready to race. Or I watched a hurdler. He went over the first 4 hurdles and sprinted them. Then he came right back and got into blocks. What happened? He died at the end of the race. You know, that's just nervous energy. You will see my athletes. Watch Sean Crawford. You know, Sean was a pretty good sprinter. Okay, he wasn't bad. He won the gold, and he didn't start off that way. He wasn't quite like that. Sean, you know, everyone else is doing one more start and getting ready to run. He'd just be standing there, or you know, sitting behind his blocks just waiting. Your coach was the same way. Your coach there at Cleveland State. Everyone else would be doing one more start over 3 or 4 hurdles, and Maddie just be sitting there just waiting, because those add up. Go out and sprint 100 meters, then come back and get ready for your race, for your time trial. Those are the things that you keep track of, so you can improve. Like, yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea.
How do you go about setting up your weekly trainings for your athlete?
Oh, okay, that brings up a good point. Weekly training. Well, first of all, we always start from the championships and work our way backwards. A lot of coaches make the mistake, they just go out and say, okay, we're going to do this today, and next day come out and, okay, we're going to do this. I like planning. You know, if you knew me, every day, including today, I had a list of things I have to do. And I go and I check them off. And I even had, you know, got a meeting today with 3 people to talk about track and field. But we work. What are we going to do the day before the state championship or the national championship or whatever championship I'm talking about? What are we going to do 2 days? What are we going to do the week before? And what are we going to do 2 weeks before? What are we going to do the month before? And we work from the end back to the beginning. There's a game plan. During the week, early season, we always train through the meets. They didn't mean much. High school, which brings up another good point. Don't run the same event week after week, meet after meet after meet, because you get stale. Change it around. If you're a 400, you know, you're an intermediate hurdler, then you should run some 200s. You should run the quarter. You should run the 800. You should run the high hurdles. Different things. Now, as you get closer to the championship, you want to get a couple good ones in. But you don't want to run the same thing, 100 meters every single meet. Move that around. One of the things we had success at, if we qualify for the finals, one of the things I take the most pride in is the vast 9 out of 10 of my athletes, if they made it to the NCAAs, they made All-American. I think one of the reasons, we were pretty good at peaking. We would practice hard one day and then harder the next day. And coaches will tell you, oh, no, you go hard, you go easy, you go hard, medium, then hard, then easy. You never go back to back. But what happens when you get to the national championships or the state championship? You have trials one day, you have the finals the next day. And if your body's used to going hard one day and then it's, I got to rest. You're in the state championship, you're in the final, and you got to rest. Not a good thing. So we went hard and hard, and I think that made a big difference. And the early season we trained through, didn't worry about it. Don't overschedule. Less is best from that standpoint. And make sure that you do have rest days. Make sure you do build in some rest. Now, I like active rest, and what I mean by active rest is we might go swimming, we might go play a little bit of basketball, some other activity that's low key, but we're still moving. But when you rest, you rest. And because that's really how you get good. You train hard, and you rest. If there was a rule that you could only train certain ways, I'd run a lot of hills. We run hills to death. And core. Lots of core work and get stronger. If you do those 3 things, your teams will be better. We had a rule for the women that if you couldn't do 5 legitimate chin-ups, you couldn't run in a meet. And we missed our first 2 meets. We didn't have anybody who could do 5. But it's amazing once they saw that, hey, this is the rule, they were all able to do it. Because when you have to do something, your body will adapt. And you get stronger and you get better. They got stronger upper body, and most girls are very weak upper body. You get them stronger, they get faster. My wife's a physical therapist. You know, people talk about getting a longer stride. Well, one of the things she does, people when they get old, they stumble all the time because they don't pick their foot up. And by strengthening their calf muscle, they're able to take that stride. And the same thing I found is true in track. I like to get real strong ankles, work the calves. We do a lot of barefoot running early season. You know, I've had Kenyans and I had Ethiopians and so forth. They never have, you know, ankle, knees, or hip problems because they grew up without running shoes. You know, it's another little thing that I think makes a difference. I'm gonna give you a couple other little things that came to my mind as we were talking. Make sure, you know, I don't like everybody doing, you know, 10 times 400 or whatever the workout is. You should have different groups because there's different training ages. You know, you're new at track and field. This is your first year out, and you've been doing it since you were a little crumb cruncher. So obviously, he has a lot more experience. So you shouldn't be doing the same workout. You know, the way we say it is that, you know, you're at Spanish 1, he's at Spanish 5, or you're at algebra and he's at calculus. So I can't expect you to do calculus. So that's why you need different things. And another thing, have a multi-event. Have kids do a little bit of everything. I told you about the young man Kenny who ended up being a quarter miler. It's the long jumper. Hey, let's try a sprint. You know, a 20-60 200-meter run or a 45 low is much more valuable to me than a 24-foot long jumper. So, you know, let's make sure you do those. Same way, you know, on relays. When I took over that team, there was one of the girls who ran the 4x1, the 4x2, and the 4x4. We took her out of those relays, and she won 4 state titles for us. So we got 40 points from her. She went on the Olympic trials. She finished 4th. She ran 57.32 for the intermediates. Way back, this is almost 40 years ago, 35, 40 years ago. She ran 57.32, and yes, she's running on the 4x1, which, you know, if they win, they get 10 points, but they didn't even do that. Spread your people out. Other questions?
Can we go out and do some drills?
4x1? Yeah, we can go out to the track.
Okay.
And do a little bit of something, and then we'll go from there. And if you have other questions, you know, you can call me, write me, email me. Let's get out there.